Creeps and Creatures. This is episode 8 of Way Too Spooky. I'm here with the co-host Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. And back by popular demand, guest Bob. Hi, Bob.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, so this is pretty special. We are fresh off the premiere viewing of Terrifier 2. In fact, we kicked it old school. I mean, it's rare that we actually go to a movie theater, but we did the Regal in Oxford Valley Mall.
Yep.
And I believe we've only seen the classic movies there that would actually get us to go when we were in high school. But this was one that we had to see in theaters as soon as it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Because this was highly anticipated. I believe it was supposed to be released probably a couple years ago, but then, of course, because of COVID, you just had to see what that menacing little clown was up to, and we couldn't wait any longer. I couldn't wait for a garbage version to come on Plex or anything.
No.
So this is the first time we're actually doing a post-podcast right after watching a movie for the first time.
And what's that movie?
Terrifier 2.
Terrifier 2. Damien Leone's Terrifier 2, I think they called it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We
haven't even talked about it. We have discussed nothing, and we don't do that before a podcast, but we were silent on the way home.
I have never in my life seen a movie quite like that. That is got to be the goriest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The most violent movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The longest horror movie
And
I've
you've
ever
seen a lot of slashers.
I have.
Yeah.
That is unlike anything I've ever seen before in my life.
And all just completely unnecessary.
I mean, I'm going to have nightmares. You know, I Googled it the other day, Terrifier 2, just to get some more information. And you know how Google sometimes has like those most asked questions like right below the first 3 searches? Mm-hmm. And someone says, like, is Terrifier 2 okay to take my 12-year-old too? I'm like, absolutely not. And after watching that, like, I don't even think an 18-year-old should see that movie.
Yeah, did that parent ever take their kid to see the first one? Or
I don't know.
Well, how was he? Did it live... You know, sometimes you have to sit on a movie for a little bit, but did it live up to your expectations of what you guys thought it was going to be?
I actually thought it was going to be not more gory. I would say more gore-filled scenes. There was a lot of scenes that had no gore whatsoever. A lot more plot than I was anticipating.
Yeah,
it was fine. It was okay.
It was a welcome surprise.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't need 2.5 hours of gore, and
no.
you didn't get that. But you got a lot.
You got a lot. I mean, there was like 2 movies worth of information in that movie.
Right.
But I thought it was a lot better quality than the first one.
They have a little more money now.
They had a little bit more money. I think they had a little bit more time to, because of COVID to I think maybe, I don't know if they had to rewrite things or revisit scenes and make them better and fine tune them. But I think it was everything that I was anticipating and then more. It was not in a bad way, not at all.
Also, I take back what I just said about that lady or that parent asking to see if they could take their 12-year-old kid, because you introduced this to he was 5 at the time?
Robbie was about 5 years old.
There's a famous story where we watched this Terrifier, the first one, and Bob has this inflatable blow-up screen that we put in his backyard, and little Robbie opened up his blinds, and he saw the scene. Terrifier, Art the Clown is known for that one scene. He tries to outdo himself. So everybody's seen Terrifier, the first one, when he took the old saw from end to end. I feel like this movie, I think I know what the scene was, but there was a lot more of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, this is it. I believe...
It was the bedroom scene.
The bedroom scene. And we're going to have to...
And spoiler alert, I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, I wouldn't recommend...
Watch it right away and then listen
to this. I mean, we're going to give away a lot, I think, unfortunately, but it's just because it's a post-watch reaction and review.
We literally just
came back from it.
So I enjoyed the big kill that he had.
Yeah.
I'm like, he has superhuman strength.
He does.
More so in this. And it kind of reminds me of like Michael Myers slowly got more strong as the series went on.
But he still is art through and through.
He uses his hands a lot more in this.
It's his... He doesn't speak. It's all in his facial expressions and all in his mannerisms, and he's just as creepy as ever. I think
he looks just as creepy.
Yeah,
and there's a little more production that was put in it, but
right.
I feel like where this movie got its charm was the grit and the grime of how it was filmed on a little bit lower budget.
Right.
But they bring him on the scene right away. I think what really did me for Art, the first 2 times I saw him, one was on All Hallows Eve. He was a mysterious, weird character.
Yeah.
Kind of built up the suspense. Too. But they just lay on thick this time. So he doesn't creep me out like he did when the first couple times. Is that how you would?
Well, see, how I look at it is, you go into this movie and you're like, there's a kid, 12 years old. You're like, maybe they'll kill that guy. And you're like, wait a second. You go back to All Hallows Eve. He killed 2 children and didn't even think about it. They had no problem showing that. So no one's safe. No one's safe.
No one's safe at all.
Yeah.
At all. But they had the TV scene in that, and then they just had the stalkerish in Terrifier. But he just lays it on thick in this one, which you laugh at these scenes. I was very entertained about some of his kills.
We had lots of laughs.
We were laughing because it was so over the top.
Well, I think Kareem mentioned it in one of our episodes where you're almost like so uncomfortable that the only thing you can do is laugh. Because some of the stuff, it's like, someone wrote this. How is this happening right now?
Just thinking about tearing apart a chicken wing or something like that. This is what he did with this girl's arm and elbow, and
it just broke it right off.
And then he pours salt and bleach on her.
I like it. He showed back up. Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, he ripped a dick off in this movie. He ripped the dude's dick off.
That guy lived though, I think.
Well, and the girl in the bed, you never actually see him kill her. He just comes out with her head at some point.
Yeah.
Before that, you don't see her die.
That's the mom.
The mom's head.
Decapitation.
Yeah. Oh, so you don't even see the girl on the bed. She could still be alive.
He eats a heart. He's in the actual cannibalism now.
Yeah.
And I just got off the fresh 10-episode series of Dahmer. So I feel like I'm all right, this is what I should be watching right now. But that's a serial killer.
There's no going back from this in a sense of
I kind of want them to be...
Is this the new kind of violence?
this has been around before, but I thought maybe they would hone in on maybe an origin story of where he came from, because he has to come from, he is supernatural. He has to.
I guess the movie starts back, if we just jump into how the movie starts, right? It starts right as where the first one left off, right? He comes back to life in the morgue.
A year later.
Well, I think the beginning is to kind of show you, he lived, he came back to life in the morgue, right? And he kills that.
He was playing with his gun wound.
He was playing with his gun wound and all. And then he goes to the dry cleaners.
What a scene!
What a scene!
That was funny.
And he strips down, and so it's and then that's where you start. He is part man or something, right? He's got a man's body.
Yeah,
skin and all.
Just a weird little man's body. Yeah,
and they introduced his little apprentice, and she was a little creepy clown herself.
Yeah, but at that point, you don't know if she's real.
I think she's all in his mind.
I think she's the next character in this franchise. He's like a little Batman. That's her Robin. They have a black van now.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's Art's Batmobile or whatever you want to call it.
And he used some OxyClean on those clothes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's impressive.
They should be a sponsor for that movie.
They should.
Clorox or something.
Clorox just pouring bleach.
Yeah, I'm like, he got real white after that.
But I have to point out at one point, it was right after he leaves the laundromat. It goes it's got a lot of synth music in it, 80s synth music.
It did, yeah.
And the first song to play, I'm actually
wearing the shirt.
Oddly enough, I'm wearing the shirt is the Midnight.
Did you know it was going to be?
No, not at all. Actually, and the song is the Equalizer. I'm like, that's so cool. They have the Midnight playing in there. So that's a really.
Is that song played on Stranger Things? It had a Stranger Things vibe to it.
No, but it's a similar.
It's a
similar
synthesizer.
Vibe. Yeah, synthesizer.
So
it's called synthwave music.
So as far as vibe is concerned, I kind of like that they still kept that element of it. It was a little bit gritty. You could tell it was a little more well done. Better actors and actresses in this.
Yeah.
Except for the one mom. I feel like they just want a little bit of just shit.
Which one? The main mom?
No, the secondary
The
mom.
one who got her head blown off.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's 5 of them,
the
by
main
the way.
mom.
The main mom. Yeah.
The main
she
mom.
was good at first, and then she kind of got annoying. I'm like, all right, she's going to die.
A lot of kills.
Yeah,
a lot of kills. There wasn't it was just a build-up to 2 big kills. He was busy from the get-go.
So there's two main characters is what? Sienna, she's the main girl.
She's
pretty
the warrior
badass.
princess.
She's pretty badass in it. I like her. She's a good actress. And then I don't know her name, but and then there's her brother Jonathan.
Yeah.
Who I thought going into it that he was going to become like the next Art the Clown. He's kind of wiry.
There's still something going on there because the dad has more of a backstory. That
I'm starting to think
the
the dad was Art the Clown.
I thought that was possible as well.
Yeah. So these kids, their dad died, but he left behind. He was an artist, and he drew pictures of Art the Clown, and he drew pictures of kills that were in the Terrifier 1, and I believe All Hallows Eve. So this dad had a premonition of everything that led up to this night. And Sienna was the girl who was dressing up like the warrior princess, with the sword that glowed at the end. So I'm thinking, she's like a warrior princess?
It was odd, but I didn't hate it. It was
I didn't hate it by that point because like we're 2 hours and 10 minutes in. I'm like, well, yeah, sure.
We've suspended all.
I'm like, yeah, just if that's how we want to wrap this up,
just like then sure.
Then sure. But he did have a couple good moments that, his mannerisms where he like turned real quick.
Oh yeah.
They did keep a couple things that kept him a little creepy because he was so overexposed in this movie, but it was funny. Like the trick or treat scene when he has the head carved out with
and then he
slapping the hand.
slaps the kid's head away.
I was laughing. I heard other people in the movie theater laughing.
I was cracking up. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. I mean, it's and I like too that you laugh at him, and he laughs at himself.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be funny,
and he
now.
laughs at what he's done. The carnage that he's done. He's accomplished. I should say.
He's artistic,
but because he's art. And then, but at the same time, like when he gets angry, you actually see it on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Like if something's not going the way he expected it to, he's pretty pissed off.
Yeah,
and that's where he's through and through, regardless of whether or not he's happy art or angry art, he's just pure carnage. Just destroys, kills people.
A lot of great kills. In most of this movie, his kills involve his hands.
Yeah,
it's not like he used a lot of tools. It's just sheer strength of like ripping like skulls apart and chest apart.
And he ripped the girl's hand in between, like down the middle of this.
Yes,
and
that was a little throwback.
So he still has his like his double plastic. And it's like one of those contractor's bag. But he didn't feel like he didn't have to go into his bag of tricks too much.
That's the best.
He kind of just did his hands a lot.
Well, but I like when they go. So advancing along a little bit. I guess the girl has a dream, right, Sienna?
Yeah.
And it's
it a dream?
That was the most messed up nightmare ever, right?
Yeah.
And like he pulls out an Uzi and just blows away all these teen adults that are supposed to be kids, I guess.
Like Blippi.
Like he's like supposed to be like Blippi, right?
Yeah. He's got like an old time machine.
And he's it's an Uzi, I think, or a Tommy gun. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. There's a couple.
Uzi,
There's a couple scenes in this where he uses the shotgun a lot more. And that's a big diversion of what he used to do because I remember at the end of Terrifier 1, he finally pulled the gun just like a 45, and he was so disappointed that he had to use that.
Yeah.
Because he's very crafty with everything else, but he had no problem with just whipping out the guns in this one.
It's like a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah. Like, although it was a dream, but the shotgun, but like pre-planned stuff where you use the guns. I'm like, I think he's a big 2A guy now.
Right.
Says he's a big Second Amendment guy now.
Wears MAGA hat.
Yeah.
So like,
he goes back politically back and forth of what he stands for.
So Sienna has that dream, that nightmare.
He's in the reassignment surgery.
Abortion, probably big fan.
She uses her sword in her nightmare, and it causes a fire to occur in her bedroom, which destroys the wings that she apparently had been working hours on to make her warrior princess.
Yeah.
So she's forced to go to a costume store to get just off the rack wings, and that's kind of where Art the Clown finds her for the first time in person, and
that was a funny scene. It was a funny scene for him. Had laughs.
Oh yeah,
with the sunglasses.
With his sunglasses, yeah.
Is that what you saw him at the?
So he became almost like a meme, yeah.
Right, but I thought he was just wearing that for goofs.
They're like sunflower sunglasses.
Chris was at the Atlantic City HorrorCon and he had those on. So I'm like, that's probably why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And the googly eyes. That was
googly eyes. And then I like when he had to go and like pay for his horn, and he's just going into his bag of just weapons, and he's finding he's pulling out the hammer. He's pulling out
there was cash down
there. There's coins, and then he finally pulls out some cash.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "I'm gonna beat your ass," and he just grabs the guy.
You know what? If you're gonna charge me $8.95 for a horn, I don't blame. I'd pull that cashier across the counter too.
That's true. That's true.
But I like when
that's
he-
a dollar store horn.
But remember he locked the door and the kid shows up to try to get the costume, and he's holding the cashier's head, and he puts his tongue out like.
Yeah, there's a little more tongue. There's a little more tongue action in this.
He just throws it behind his back. He's tired of it.
There's a couple more scenes where he used his tongue a little bit more, creepily. So I say he still kind of kept the creep factor, but he was way funnier, and he was way more active in this movie. There's no mystery.
Oh no!
In this movie at all. It is a long movie of just him just over the top kills. And I think that's where they kind of painted themselves into this corner.
Right.
They're like, well, I mean, we did those last two scenes, so let's just make this whole. And they had a lot more money for this, so I think they got a lot of bang for their buck.
I mean,
I'll have to see some behind the scenes. I want to know how they did the scenes of the up close blades going through.
They were going to show that there, but I was like,
we got to get out.
I've had enough.
I
don't stay up late for movies.
I'm a little overwhelmed right now.
Just
in terms of it's. I'm drained just from seeing all that. But I gotta say, all the kills that he did,
I've been more drained watching movies. I have been more exhausted.
Right.
It's just, I think they could have really cut out the last 30 minutes, or just could have been 2 hours. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
They just went.
But I don't think any of the kills were. I mean, they're all unnecessary.
And I knew we're not getting closure.
But none of the kills were bad. I didn't say, "Oh, that was a dumb one." Like that was like every single one of them was over the top, and
it was just like, it wasn't quick. It was just kind of laying into it.
Oh my word!
And they kept these people alive way longer than they would have actually been alive during these kills.
The scene would have happened when he just used his hands to scalp that girl, twist her arm off, and then she's still alive.
Split
then he
it in
puts
half.
salt on her, and then he gets bleach. And then I'm sitting on my, I have this thing in my wallet. What is that?
A tile.
A tile. So I must have accidentally set an alarm to my phone, and I called 911 while I'm in the movie theater. And it was going on in the peak of the scene, and all you hear is screaming. And then the half-hour police were calling me back to make sure it wasn't. So I'm like, I gotta walk out of this because you just hear screaming. And then I think I was walking just before I answered the phone. You could still hear screaming in the back. And I was like, nah, everything's fine. It was an accidental dial. I was kind of like, yeah, if you could just see a girl just getting just murdered in the back. I'm like, I swear it's just a movie. So, yeah, spooky enough. I called 911 accidentally, sitting on my phone.
Oh man, they would have
been. In a movie
They were
theater.
probably concerned if they heard that.
Yeah, and the fact that she goes, well, where are you, sir? I was like, well, I'm at the Regal at Oxford Valley. It already sounds scary that you're seeing a movie this late. Because I felt weird. It's the first time I've actually. It was only Creeps and Creatures in there.
Oh yeah.
I think we picked up some new fans out there.
We did.
They did. So I'm like, all right, not many people would go to a movie, especially this late anymore.
Well, we were standing in line and we met three girls. And they were going to see Trick or Treat for the first time in theaters.
I'm just glad we didn't see Joker, like quiet motherfucker walking in.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What are you gonna do?
I saw that one girl walking with green hair, and I was a little concerned.
Yeah, but I was kind of like, we think like that now. It's kind of like, what are you gonna do, buddy? I just want to see this movie.
Yeah.
So it made it a little more weird in the beginning, but then I kind of honed in on it. So yeah, I accidentally called 911 during this movie, and I had to explain to her everything.
Congratulations.
So
the girl winds up going to to like a Halloween party, right?
Yeah.
Sienna gets to a Halloween party with her.
Yep.
Her one friend doesn't make it, and that's the scene we're talking about.
Can we revisit this scene?
Yeah, that's probably
so demented. This kill.
Yeah.
I mean,
and she's the good friend, right?
He breaks her in half, slices her open, and then comes back with bleach and salt.
He's like
and rubs it into the wounds.
Yeah.
Rubs it in.
And then the mom comes home. The mom
he
comes
went into
home.
the kitchen to find salt.
What the fuck?
There's nothing like it. I think they outdid the cutting scene from the first
I wonder if that was
Her
improvised.
arms are missing.
They definitely had to improvise. Like, what should we do now? Like he because the way he like tore her arm off like that's kind of like that.
You ever play with a paper clip and you go back and forth?
That's what he was
and
doing.
eventually it just weakens and just snaps.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
That's what he was doing
with his
girl's
silent
arm.
laugh.
And he just didn't make a sound. Yeah, and the bleach and the salt. I mean, that's just like adding salt to a wound. Like that's what he did.
He's like packing it in there.
She's just screaming.
No, we're still getting our thoughts together because we just watched
you
this.
have to apologize, but
he blew the mom's face off with the shotgun. But then the son comes home and he has her propped up at the dinner table.
He got her head back
with a glass of wine, and then
and mashed potatoes.
And he comes out like with an apron on, like he's ready to serve to have a happy family. He rings his little bell, and then he just picks up the mashed potatoes, just shoves it in her broken face. I was like, what the fuck? Like I knew there was gonna be these moments, but there was no like closure of like where he came from or what's going on. It was just chaos.
I have never seen a movie like this.
Where do you find the time to make mashed potatoes?
Dude, he whipped up mashed potatoes in the kitchen. It had to be one of those instant whip. Just instant mashed potatoes.
Oh my lord!
I'm at a loss of words. I'm crying because I'm so in shock.
So like him doing that, and then him like serving candy to the kids and slapping. Like there was moments you will laugh at this movie
because there's nothing else to do. It's so off the charts, absurd, and you can't help but laugh. It's not. I mean, in a way, it's not even funny. It's not.
It's not funny, but it's kind of like there's a moment I'm sitting there. I'm like, why? Like I paid money to like. I'm not regretting it, but I'm just saying that it's not like
I bought the tickets.
Yeah, I'm like I should be sleeping. I should be in bed. Like you always think like I should be. I'm like why? Like I'm gonna sit through this, but it's funny now to talk about.
Yeah,
if you do have those moments in a 2.5 hour long movie.
Oh my word! Yeah, that was a what a movie that was.
It's been a while since I've actually just gone to a movie and watched something like that.
Imagine if you took someone there, like we knew what we were getting ourselves into.
Oh yeah,
we knew.
We had to.
We expected.
So we knew going in that there were going to be some parts we were going to laugh at because they're going to be absurd. Can you imagine going in there with someone who had no idea what we were about to watch?
Well, I'll tell you,
there had to be.
Here was the level I was at. Like this is what I'm expecting.
Right.
And it was like this. I mean, it was way higher than from a violence and gore perspective.
Yes.
I didn't think you were going to see as much art as you did, and he was everywhere.
Still creative. There wasn't like, I mean, if you compared the scenes from like Terrifier 1 where he saw it upside down, or the messed up scene in All Hallows Eve when he carved all this adjectives into her, and like those scenes were way more like, oh my god, than this. I think what made this more funny was just like his mannerisms about it. And the whole movie was just that. Yeah. Like most of the movie was just kills.
Right.
So I was kind of like, that's what made it.
That's what you're there
top.
for. It's
excessive.
It's an excessive
kill. Very excessive.
Yeah. I mean, there had to have been at least 20 deaths.
Something, I guess. We don't even have the data on the body count on how much was on this because
there's a huge body count in the Nightmare.
Yeah, and you know what's gonna happen because
do you count that or not? That's the real question.
Yeah. We're gonna go to bed tonight and like there's stuff that's just gonna get forgotten because we have not watched it again. We haven't much time to thought about it. So I'm excited to see other fans of this movie who can literally just comment or leave a note about something that we forgot because it's gone. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
First 5 minutes of the movie, he takes the guy's eyeball out and shoves it in his
eye.
eye.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
And
the faces he was making.
Yeah, I was laughing. He literally right off the bat. So it's kind of like a Jeepers Creepers type thing where I don't know if he consumes other people's organs, but he put some other dude's in his eye. Yeah. He borrowed his eye.
Yeah, I almost liken him to like a little kid. He's like a kid in a way. Yeah. You know how kids are like, their minds are all over the place. They're playing with one toy and then they're playing with another toy and they get bored real quick and they go to the next thing. He's almost like that. You know, he's playing with the eyeball. He's having a great time. Then all of a sudden his face like goes and he just drops it. He's on to something else. He just has fun with dismembering.
He's a good cook.
He's a great cook.
Great cook. Those mashed potatoes did look good.
They did look good.
He was funnier. I think that if I had to describe him more one way, he was definitely funnier this time. At least I find him to be funnier.
Yeah.
So like, there's always elements of art. Like
it's all about shock factor in this movie. Right?
Shock value.
You're laughing at him at first, and you're like, oh, he's kind of funny, and then he just goes and pulls some kind of prank by killing like somebody in the most obscure way possible.
Like just the tip.
Just the tip. Oh, that's
right. They did have an element of it reminded me of like Scream, like in the '90s. That over the top one boyfriend is always trying to make out. And,
that was there.
That was something that was big in like the '90s and probably 2000s too. Yeah. Where it's like he's always jumping out like that, and like, They do kind of make Halloween seem so corny. Some of these people, like Halloween night. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's always a big rave party. I have never been to like a rave Halloween party or gave a shit about it. No. But like they always make it kind of like weird and like over the top, like sexual and.
But I think it worked in this movie.
It did. So they did have like that. That comes with production too. Right. That big dance floor and all these people dancing and they have way more actors and actresses.
Yeah.
So it captured. You like movies that have to capture like the Halloween vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have like so much Halloween night involved with it like the previous ones.
Well, and then they always do this in movies. Like the Halloween movies always do this, like with the Michael Myers Halloween movies. Yeah. But like trick or treaters are out like during the daytime.
Yeah.
Like, I never see trick or treaters during the daytime. Like it seems like it's like 2:00 in the afternoon.
I think that was a thing at one point.
Was it? Maybe. Well, because then Art the Clown shows up, and I feel like it's like 3:00 in the afternoon.
Dude, we used to trick or treat with the like it would be like an Art the Bag like contractor bag.
Did you really?
Sometimes we would take hefty bags.
We would just do potatoes or
we'd be out late. We got so pillow sacks.
Oh yeah, you go to the big developments.
Yeah, we get so much candy.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But when he shows up to that, I mean, we keep going back and forth. But when he shows up to that girl's house, asking for candy, he's like demanding it, and then he's showing his bag.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, and then like, will you go away if I give you candy? And he's like,
yeah,
I'll go away. And then she just looks out the window and you just see him walking down the street.
She got it the worst.
Oh yeah. I didn't expect, because she seemed like she was the better of the two friends of Sienna. Yeah. Like she, the most caring.
Yeah.
And he just messed her up.
And Sienna and Jonathan's mom was the most annoying. But then again, she was the single mom, overworked. But she was like the bad actress.
She was. Yeah.
She just didn't have it. But Art put her in her place for that. He definitely did.
In the quickest way possible.
Yeah, he carries like a double barrel shotgun now.
But that's like this big.
Yeah, sawed-off shotgun.
Sawed-off shotgun, yeah.
And then he carried one like on his license. I'm like, nah, he just some changes. They still kept some mystique about him because they're not going to explain his origin story. But there's a new character that they introduced. I mentioned this before. It's his little girl clown friend, and I kind of like her. I kind of like her eyes glow.
Yeah.
Like she's supernatural, and Art did that in All Hallows Eve.
Right. Oh, it worked. It totally worked.
That was a little freaky, like from the black van.
Yeah.
There was like if you distracted yourself from all the other gore, there's a supernatural element where stuff like that does happen.
Yeah. I think I don't think it detracted from Art at all, and it was a welcome addition. If she wasn't in it, I don't think it would have hurt. But the fact that she's in it didn't hurt either. It's like it works.
I believe they're going to have to probably have a spinoff, because if this was successful, because I don't know how many people were there tonight, but enough.
Sure, it was the fact that it's even open. I think I saw somewhere it's like opening in like 11,000 theaters.
And it's not advertising to anybody else except for the people who are actually looking.
That's a huge accomplishment for Damien Leone and everyone that's involved. I mean, that's a really big thing. And then did you ever see Chris Jericho in the movie?
I was going to ask you that.
I didn't. I'm looking at IMDb now because I want to know what they credited the
He was Art the Clown.
And she's credited as Demon Girl.
Demon Girl.
That's currently what she's credited as. Chris Jericho says he's credited as Burke, but I don't remember seeing Chris Jericho. He might have been in the club. He had to be in the club somewhere.
They just put Chris Jericho in the club.
Maybe he's. You know what? It's probably an after post credits thing that we didn't see.
No, I doubt
it. There's no way they would cut his scene either.
No, I don't think so. And they even said it in the beginning, starring Chris Jericho. And then the one teacher that came over when they were looking at the dead possum, which I also forgot. He throws the possum at the kid.
So there's an element of this movie where the brother Jonathan, the brother of Sienna, he could have tendencies to be a serial killer, and his mom was very upset because he obsessed about Art the Clown and all these other serial killers. But I think they're going to leave that up for mystery. Maybe he's the next Art the Clown.
I read something somewhere that Sienna is like she's going to be in future iterations of the movie, at least for 2 more movies after this.
Yeah.
So yeah, they may. He has enough material, I think, Damien Leone to expand upon that.
Oh, I bet they've already started filming.
Possibly.
Unless they decide to pack everything they needed into 2.5 hours. I don't know the runtime of this movie, but it felt like it was 2.5 hours.
It had to have been like about 2 hours and 20.
Which is pretty long, in my opinion, for a movie like this.
It's pretty long for any kind of movie. You know, how long was Titanic? 3 hours, maybe?
Two videotapes.
Two VHS tapes, right?
Yeah.
So this was the longest horror movie I've ever seen. Most horror movies are 90 minutes or below, because it's only that's as much as from a budgetary standpoint, and I think as much as the viewer can take.
Also, we're in a generation where even my brain is just getting less and less. Like, we like reels. Right. Like, we like 1 minute things. 1 minute maximum. This. So for movies, I believe they've just gotten tighter, which they kind of should.
Right. Although I do appreciate, there was some fluff in the movie. You know, it didn't have to be as long as it was, but it's another like check on the box where I can say like, goriest movie, longest horror movie. I can say that now I've ever seen. Like, it's
the last 30 minutes were in a weird enough. It was in a circus, like haunted house.
That might have been the last hour. They were in there a long time. That was the largest fun house
called the Terrifier.
We pull up to the theater tonight. I made a wrong turn, and I see huge circus tents lit up.
Yeah, you were so excited.
I didn't. You sent a text message that was there this week or weekend. Was it the Paranormal Circus?
Paranormal Cirque, like Cirque
du
Soleil, but for clowns.
If we were not seeing that movie, it looked. I mean, that looked like where Art the Clown would be hanging out.
He would.
There's definitely some creepy stuff going on.
This is like a professional touring circus, but it's paranormal. It's like spooky stuff. So obviously they do it around October. But like when you see like before you saw the parking lot was an empty lot, then you see that. I'm like, this is like out of It, or So clown movies altogether. I was never a big clown guy. I liked It. This is the only other one that's kind of moved up.
Yeah, and it's totally different than It. I mean,
Art's a special clown.
He is.
But they really zoomed in on the whole clown aspect by the last, you said, hour of the movie.
Right.
He's surrounded by other clowns in like a circus.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's clown. You forget he's a clown. I just think he's a demon.
He's a demonic clown for sure.
But he's a clown.
Yeah.
So
he's. I mean, we said it in the first episode that we talked about Terrifier. No, that was episode 2, I think it was. But it was. I mean, he has a way of making you uncomfortable. That's for sure. Just through his. Why are you laughing at what you just did?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
And not many other franchises would you go out and go see a movie when it's released. You would definitely. We've always done with Halloween.
Sure. Yeah.
But this is probably the only one where we had to go see this.
Yeah. Well, and I also like to, if we're not going out to see it, we're streaming it, then they're not getting the funds that they need to produce future movies like this. This movie's definitely not for everyone. Even horror fans, it's not for every horror fan. But but to provide some financial, I guess giving back to them for producing this movie. The hope is that they make some more. I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's not my go-to.
No.
We talked about this before, but I'm definitely interested. I'm like, I gotta see what the fuck this guy did. Right, and he did live up to what I hope he would have done.
And then you have this 2.5 hours long. They don't make horror movies that long for good reason. They haven't put it on television that long. This movie's never making it to television.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can't edit this movie in any way.
If you edited this movie, the gore out, the movie would be 20 minutes.
Oh yeah,
it's it's legitimately 2 hours of just pure gore.
If you want suspense and build up.
Not much. Not much there.
Or like some of the mystery or weirdness that he gave you in the previous 2 ones.
Yeah.
No, he gets right into this one.
Yeah, he does not mess around. Would you rank him? Would you say that he's like a Jason, Michael?
We mentioned this when you and I reviewed the first Terrifier.
Yeah.
I was saying I think he's making, because it was a cult classic. I think he rattled enough cages that he's kind of making his way up as far as slashers. I'm not a big slasher guy. I like Michael Myers because it's very nostalgic, and we're going to talk a lot about that soon. But as far as gore, it was more of, it's funny to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was funny seeing it. I don't know if I could rewatch this movie over and over again because, like, the shock value of how over the top the kill won't hit me the same.
Yeah. I think you have to watch it with the right people.
I can't rewatch like the same gore movie over and over again. You know what I mean?
No. So, but there's just.
Yeah.
I can't get over when he slapped that kid's hand, giving out the ball candy. And it's like, it's slimy. It's don't worry, it's just fake blood.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's the mom's guts.
Yeah.
Or brains, I guess, or brain matter.
So he actually consumes. He eats people.
He eats people.
A couple parts.
And
so
when it comes to villains, though, he's got to be near the top.
He's the most evil.
He can't die, as far as we can tell. Right? He's going to come back to life, obviously.
Yeah.
He tortures his victims. He has no interest in killing most of them. He just wants to torture them to death. Rubbing salt. Just poured salt all over this poor girl.
And bleach.
So he just wanted to inflict pain.
And he's got no problem using the gun if he has to. And you can't say that
No,
about
he's coming around on that.
Yeah.
I think after he killed that main character in the first one with a gun and he was disappointed, he realized how fun guns were. So he moved up. I got myself a sawed-off shotgun now. Goofier, funnier. Are we ready for the rating scale yet?
Yeah, we can get to that. You know, what would you call it? What would you say?
How far are we in?
We're about 35 minutes in, 36 minutes.
Yeah,
in.
we could start rating because I know as soon as we start rating, we're gonna remember some other scenes.
Yeah.
This is a post-pod. Okay.
Right.
I had different expectations for this movie in the sense I'm not looking to get scared.
Yeah.
He delivered on what I wanted.
Right.
Because I remember when I first saw this by myself here, Terrifier 1 and All Hallows Eve, I felt just creeped out by him lurking in that fucking face of his. It's so fucking ugly. But I think I've been so desensitized to it, but now he's just funnier.
Yeah.
But he still had a couple of good moments. The kill scenes were over the top. It's what I wanted. It was just a little bit too long. So there's not spooky, which means the movie fucking sucked.
That's spookless.
Spookless.
He'll get it right one day.
One day.
One day he'll get this right.
He's gonna go on trial, and he has to get this correct across the board. I'm testing him.
Not too spooky.
I know. It's
not too spooky.
Spookless,
Way too spooky.
Spookless means it was a complete dud. It sucks because we do have new viewers tonight. It wasn't even good for its time. I would say that. Like you can think about a movie that was made like in the 70s or 80s, but it was probably great, and you have to play that into a factor. So
case in point, Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Just watched that last night. That is beyond spookless. That is the worst movie. It got a 0% of Rotten Tomatoes, and it deserves every bit of it.
We actually will have a guest who reached out to us, a fan.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. We're going to review Jeepers Creeper 4 Reborn because people want to vent.
Shitty movie, man.
People want. It doesn't matter. People need to vent. Okay.
All right.
Especially if you love the first one, you've been let down.
Yeah.
On a downward path.
Well, I'm gonna let it be known now. It's spookless. But all right, back to this movie.
So there's spookless means it's sucked in every single way. Not too spooky.
There you go.
Means it had a element of something that one scene where it was kind of like, oh, that kind of freaked me out, or that was creepy, or the movie was okay. It was interesting.
Yeah.
And then there was spooky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spooky means it's getting there. You can kind of be like, all right, I could see why this was good at a certain time. It was good. And then there's way too spooky.
Yep.
Which is very hard to hit. I've only hit it once. I don't know if you've given that score yet.
I don't think I have.
But it's all subjective. It's all relative to how you perceive a movie.
Yep.
So I would say this movie was so entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't scare me on any level. It was more funny. It's what I wanted personally.
So what would you say?
Not spooky, but not spooky, but maybe spooky.
Not too spooky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it because the first time seeing it.
Yeah.
I'll give it a spooky, almost way too spooky, just because it is well beyond.
Yeah.
Any other horror movie I've ever seen in my entire life. It is the goriest. It's not scary, but it gets an A+ on something, on some level.
But there's gore fans who solely rate their movies.
Yeah.
There are people who just love slashers.
So to call it
gore.
spooky, no. Yeah, but if it was like, if this show was called way too gory, I mean, there's no denying that it's just the goriest.
Art did his thing.
Yeah. Art did his thing. He did not disappoint. I thought I was cracking up at points. Not parts were actually just funny, and other parts are just I was cracking up because I was so uncomfortable. So I'll give it a spooky, almost to the tip, like of way too spooky.
You mean just the tip?
Just the
Promise?
tip.
Just the tip.
Kid wore a shirt, the boyfriend, that said it was a knife with blood at the top. Just the tip, I promise. Or some bullshit like that.
And he rips the guy's wiener off.
He does just a tip. Oh, yeah, and Art took the time to put that.
He did.
As we're talking about this is the thing of a post-movie podcast. We're remembering this as we're talking about it. He's creative in this. So
What would you give it,
I
Bob?
respect that score. I kind of want to say just spooky based off what gore fans would want.
Yeah.
But for me personally, maybe I'll watch it at some point down the road. But it's a long movie.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a solid spooky.
Yeah.
Again, not the scariest movie. Not many parts that not many jump out scare parts, nothing like that. But the gore just takes it way over the top.
Oh my word!
So
what? As of this, before we went into the movie, I think I was talking. We saw it online, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 100%.
Who saw that?
It's like 11 reviews, and it's typically some more well-known reviewers.
Which means that every review it's gotten has been a generally positive review.
Correct. So, taking the spooky meter out of it, would you, on the Rotten Tomato, what would you give it on a scale of 1 to 100?
If you've seen the previous, if you know what you're looking for, I would say this is probably, it's definitely a B.
A B?
You know what? I would say they have more production. It was better production now, but there was a certain grittiness that I liked about the movie previously.
Yeah.
They got it is a better quality movie, but it's long, a little bit longer than it should be. They should have cut out some of that fat in the middle, but they compensated for by not having any long, drawn-out, boring scenes. It was just constant kills.
Yeah.
Let's just give it an 80%, 85.
Yeah,
that's good. That's a good score.
It's a good score. Absolutely, it is.
Because if by this point, if you don't know what you're getting into when you're watching Art the Clown, then he delivers on what he needs to do. They didn't really deliver too much on the backstory. Maybe they shouldn't. Who gives a shit? Let's just keep it dumb. Let's just give the people what they want.
But people want the gore. I would like to find out a little more backstory about
what is he?
The father, the sword. How did all this happen?
Yeah.
Because they kind of just threw it out there.
Well, yeah. But now they have all these different avenues they can take in the future ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's typically what happens with these movies, and they might get watered down.
And there's a new clown. Little girl clown.
Yeah. So
with spooky eyes.
But I think if they keep doing in future iterations of the movie, Art stays the same, and he just keeps killing the way it's.
And the joy he
takes. It is.
In the
it's
kill.
like, I mean, he's a kid in a candy shop when he's killing it, when he's hacking people apart. It's unbelievable. What a character.
I would say whenever I give a rating scale on a movie and it's not my avenue of what I normally go to, take it with a grain of salt. Or, unless you're Art the Clown, just pour that whole thing of salt
and bleach
all over the wounds and laugh and slap it in there, then put bleach on it, and then you blow some lady's head off, and then you feed her mashed potatoes that you just whipped up in the kitchen, you smashed it in there. The more and more I talk about it, I kind of laugh. Art did what he's supposed to do. Right. And I'll tell you what, if he did not deliver on scenes like that, I probably would have found myself being more annoyed that they tried to do a deep dive into where it came from.
Yeah.
Like, you already outdid yourselves on the previous ones with certain kills.
Yeah.
Now, this is what he is. They kind of have to do that now.
They upped it, though. They surpassed it.
So, yeah, I'm going to retract. I'm going to give it I think we got a trifecta spooky here.
Yeah. Try spooky.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
So
I can't wait.
3 Art the Clown faces just rolled up on a jackpot.
Yeah.
And that's just a post-pod reaction. So
if you walked in the casino and they had an Art the Clown slot machine, tell me you're not sitting down and playing that for hours.
There. And then you just look down and you see him just going like this.
He's waving.
And then he puts like a nickel into it like that. And then just throws it down.
Bag.
And then my head comes up 3 times. And then he just smiles. And then he slashes you. Wow, the more you just keep talking about this movie, you keep getting reminded of scenes. But I'm like, yeah, that really was. I was kind of like, holy shit, this is like 2.5.
Well, we could talk for 2.5 hours about this movie or beyond.
We could.
So let's just wrap it up. It's a solid three spookies across the board. We think.
Yeah, it's for what you're looking for in this movie. This is exactly.
It's
what
not for everyone, but if you like these types of movies, if you heard of them and you want to know more, you might want to bring a bucket because you might want to throw off at certain points. But it's
or shit yourself like the clown did at the beginning. I forgot about that. I totally forgot his little.
At any rate, on behalf of Connor, Bob, this is Chris. This is Way Too Spooky, Episode 8, Terrifier 2.
Yes.
Check it out in theaters now.
And we got a busy next couple weeks coming up.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of stuff. But it means nothing unless you guys don't slash that subscribe button. Yep. We're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. We don't want to be greedy and say follow us Avenue. But this is how we know people are engaging. And tell us what we should be doing, because we're actually going to have, like you mentioned, a Jeepers Creepers fan chime in when we do the Reborn episode. So you could be that weird creeper creature who wants to give your input on something. So let us know. But Bob, thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me,
Chris.
Guys, sleep tight.
We'll see you next week.
Don't have nightmares. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, cool.
All right, take care. Bye.